Hello, good afternoon, early evening. I'm Emily, the jet setting fashionista, and I am so looking forward to this Instagram Live. I will be sitting down and chatting virtually with Jen Pelka of Une Femme Wines and also the founder of the Riddler San Francisco and the Riddler New York. She also has Magnum PR. She's a busy lady. She is taken over the world. So I will just give it a moment for Jen to hop on and join. In the meantime, I wanted to let you know, if this is your first Instagram Live with me, I have a whole collection of them on my YouTube channel and also on my IGTV. So you can pop over to Jet Setting Fashionista and watch some of the other Instagram Lives I've been doing with some other fabulous winemakers and culinary friends. Okay, let me see if Miss Jen is here. One moment. Okay, hello Magnum PR. Anyway, I'm curious, does anybody else have the wine to join us? I waited to pop the beautiful Juliette until Jen and I are here together because, I mean, what is more celebratory than opening a bottle of champagne on a Friday? 4 o'clock, I think it's the perfect time. And yeah, I'm super excited. I've had this champagne at the Riddler. It's beautiful. And I can't wait for Jen to sort of walk us through it and share more with you guys. Okay. Just looking for Jen, sorry. Oh, okay, she's here. Jen, do you want to just send a request? I can't seem to. Une Femme. There we go. Okay, let me invite her on. Okay, here we go. All right, we're just waiting. Technical, you know. Oh, hi, there you are. Hello. Oh, I love the red lips. You look so chic.
Okay.
Let me guess your surroundings. I assume you were at the Riddler?
Of course, always.
Yeah. Beautiful. I recognize that backdrop. A little less bottles than usual, but, you know, still stunning.
A little bit less than normal, but.
Happy Friday. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Long time no see. It was actually really fun. I got to swing by and pick up the samples. It felt like normalcy being in the Riddler again, even though it was just you and I in masks and nobody else was there.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, so great to see you.
And yeah,
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I just spent 2 nights glamping up in Healdsburg at this amazing place, Wild Haven. So now I'm back to normalcy. I'm in Napa. I'm at my friend Kelsey Phelps' family's house. So I'm, you know, living the good life, about to drink champagne and sparkling rosé with you. No complaints.
Love it.
Yeah. So speaking of which, I didn't want to pop the Juliette until we started. So what would you like to start with while we start chit-chatting? What should I be sipping on?
So I, let's see, here we go.
I have my beautiful
champagne on ice. Do you have, which of the wines do you have right now?
I mean, I have them both. I opened this cutie pie. It was so cute. I couldn't resist.
Here.
Okay. And then we'll move on to champagne?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I already popped mine, but I haven't had any. It's really cool. Today was a big bottling day for us.
Oh.
So up in Napa, I was not there today, but have been up there a whole bunch. And so today we bottled a lot more of these little guys.
Well, I was just looking on your website. I didn't know this was available in 12-pack format. What a perfect gift.
You know it. Yeah. Perfect for entertaining and woo. Huh.
Yeah. I know. It's so bubbly.
Pour a glass.
Yeah, cheers. Let me pour a little more so I'll match you. I will see you and match you a little more rosé. So cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. I have not, I have had this. What am I talking about? I haven't had it at the Riddler.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
Lovely. Super, very easy and drinkable.
Very, very drinkable. Yeah.
Maybe a little too drinkable. No wonder. I would just go through mini after mini. So tell us, where do we start? I mean, I think we should start with where you were born, your background. Just kidding. But let's talk about your hospitality background, your interest in wine, what led to the Riddler and then Une Femme Wines. There's just so much to talk about.
Sure. Yeah. So I opened the first location of the Riddler here in San Francisco about 4 years ago. And I've always really loved champagne. I've been a huge fan of drinking champagne since I was, young enough.
Under 21.
But, I started drinking sparkling wine when I was in my early 20s, living in New York, hanging out in cool New York bars, and just really loved sparkling wine. And then really started falling in love with champagne a little bit later. And so I opened the Riddler in 4 years ago, and it's been so much fun. So since then,
I can't believe it's been 4 years, by the way.
I know. I mean,
Like,
how long
wow.
have we known each other?
Well, I've been in New York 8. I feel like we met maybe like a year or two in, maybe
Yeah.
like 6 years. I just remember you were, you know, this fabulous PR gal that was engaged to Charles with Suvla. So that's how I met you. When was Suvla's first opening?
6 years ago.
Yeah, so about then, probably.
Yeah, that's totally possible. It's wild. It's totally wild.
I know, it's funny, we met over food, and that's obviously moved on to wine.
Yes, absolutely. So I opened the first space here in San Francisco about 4 years ago, and in New York a little bit before the end of the year. So we were open for about 6 months before all of this craziness. And we launched this brand, Une Femme, in the beginning of last year, and it's been so much fun. It's
and when you say we, who's your co-founder?
My co-founder is my brother, actually.
This is the cutest story. So how did you guys decide to start a brand together?
We started, well, I started the brand because I knew that I wanted to do a brand that was really focused on women and sparkling wines. So I knew of a couple women who were making wines in a couple different styles and categories that I really, really loved. And our champagne producer is this amazing woman, Juliette. She and her family have been making wine in France for over 400 years.
Wow.
And so we got to know her. She's amazing. And then I decided to start this brand that was really focused on female winemakers. Launched the first wine, which is the champagne. And then we found this amazing winemaker in Napa, Sam Sheehan from Poe.
Who I also know.
Who's so great.
She's so cool. I've been to her house. She hosted that amazing Batonage, her and her husband in their gorgeous garden. I was like, can I move here? Yeah, she's really cool too. Cool.
Yeah, so
you just surround yourself with cool gals.
That's right. Absolutely. I mean, always. And so I started, hold on. So someone's knocking at the front door.
Oh,
so
it's probably UPS or FedEx.
1 second.
We'll be right here. So guys, in the meantime, I'm going to tell you about this rosé. So it's really floral and aromatic. It's so lovely, very feminine. And I smell like a little bit of like red rose, definitely strawberry, maybe a little bit of raspberry. I would love if any of you guys are sipping along, let me know what you are smelling as well. I see some familiar faces. Happy Friday. How are you guys doing? How's everybody hanging in there with COVID and sort of the new norm? Give me some comments. Oh, yes, Alex. Yum, yum. I wish you were here in Napa. You could have a glass with me. Socially distanced, of course. Yeah, and then this is going to be the big unveil when we open the Juliette. I had this at the Riddler a couple months ago. So I'm excited. I haven't had it since then. And it should be great. Okay. So anyway, what else should I tell you guys? So it's been a busy week. Oh, Jen's back. Hello.
Hi. Sorry. Someone was pounding at the front door.
No problem. Okay. So where were we? So female brand and so you found Sam and then sort of the rest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So we launched this second sparkling wine, which is the Callie. So all of the wines are named after women. So the Callie is our California sparkling. These are available in these little single serving packs. As you said, that you can order them online for 12 in a pack, and they're amazing.
What is it, 128?
And then you can also get them, you'll be able to get them at places like Byright and Arlequin and lots of cool shops.
Great shops. I love Arlequin.
What are your favorite wine shops in San Francisco?
I probably shouldn't say this, but I don't buy a lot of wine because usually I'm lucky. I get to wine, people send you wine and they want you to try it. But I would say Arlequin is definitely one of my favorites. I also buy wine. I have a couple friends at wine.com, so they're great. Although I do, if you're going to shop local, we want to shop the small guys. And it's funny, I forgot Byright has wine, but every time I'm in there, I poke around and they have a great assortment.
They have a great selection.
And then I also love, what's the one the female gals in Soma founded? I'm drawing a blank.
Decant?
Yeah, Decant's fabulous. So yeah, but I think Arlequin has some of my favorite events. Like I go to their annual champagne tasting every year and get to discover people that I'm like, what is this? I've never heard of it yet or seen it on a wine list that I knew of.
Yeah. Well, and you're a big champagne lover. So what do you love about champagne? That's what I mean. I think
well, where do we start? I mean, first of all, the pop. Let's start with the pop. I think the pop is just fun. That's why I waited to pop together. I don't know. It's funny because, you know, we have a mutual friend, my dear friend Kat, and she's even more of a champagne lover than I am. So I feel like I've gotten more into champagne being around her more. And she's actually coming up this weekend. We're celebrating her birthday. So there'll be champagne, of course. I don't know. I just think the bubbles are cheerful. Like it boosts your mood. It's not like a Cabernet that you want to have by the fire and like read a book. You just want to like be playful. And, you know, I'm sort of lively. So maybe it energizes me more.
Yeah. I'm sure.
What about you?
Yeah, those are all the things that I really love about sparkling wine and champagne too. And I think, you know, a lot of people think that champagne is something that you should only drink at a wedding or an anniversary or something like that. But you know, you like me are really into drinking champagne any time of the year, any time of the day. I'm a big breakfast champagne gal.
Oh, breakfast of champions.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
And then when you have champagne for breakfast, do you have a preference? Like, what is your style? Are you like a traditionalist where, you know, you want the Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier and Chardonnay, or are you like 100%?
I do most of my champagne selections based off of the producer. So I like a really wide range of styles.
Good answer. You're not going to play favorites as a wine bar owner.
No.
except your brand.
I love supporting women-made wines whenever I possibly can. So some of my favorite female producers are Marianne Boisset is an amazing producer. The woman Elodie is the second generation, and she's been she produces very, very sustainably, which is really cool, which I'm really into. I love Jay LaSalle, which is
me too.
Many generations of women. And
I didn't know that. I met the winemaker and his wife. They were at Wine and Spirits Top 100 this year.
Oh, cool.
He's adorable. He's like really nice and friendly.
Yeah, they have a very, very strong tradition of females running the house. It's really interesting. The CEO of Krug these days,
Maggie.
Have you met her? She's
we both met her. I think at the same trip. So the Assembly had an event. You guys did and then I went to an event that evening. So I went to 2 events with her in the same day. I was like, can my life get any better? I love Krug. Like,
I know she's so.
I actually went to Krug in Champaign this fall. Have you been?
I have been.
Yeah, it's amazing. And speaking of female winemakers, I went to Veuve Clicquot, and one of their 12 winemakers is Gaëlle Goossens, who's amazing. Yes. She's like young like us, vibrant. She's a mom. She does it all. And I met her in San Francisco first. She was here for like 5 days touring. Yeah. And then when I went to Veuve, I didn't know I was meeting with her. I'm like, which winemaker? And it was just, the name wasn't confirmed. So I was like, oh my God, it's you again. Like, it was like a fun little reunion to like see her. Like, we were actually in the room where Veuve Clicquot does their tasting panel. And she's like, this is where the 12 winemakers like come up with the blend. And I'm like, this is so cool.
So wild.
I mean, obviously they're a bigger brand, but in terms of like champagne recognition, I think a lot of us probably owe a lot to Veuve Clicquot. Like a lot of people don't, when they think of champagne, they think of that, yellow label.
Absolutely. Well, the name the Riddler comes from riddling, which was invented by the widow Clicquot, the Veuve Clicquot.
Yes, Madame Clicquot. She's a genius. Well, she was. So tell us about the Riddler. So you have like the coolest names, and I was also like, as I was tagging Magnum PR and something, I'm like, Jen is so genius. Like even your PR company is named after something wine related.
Well, thank you. Yeah, Charles named Magnum.
So Charles gets credit for that?
He's very, very clever with naming. So he named Magnum. But the Riddler is, named after riddling, which is a step in the champagne making process. So the way that champagne gets its bubbles is that there's a first fermentation that happens, which is where the grapes turn into wine. And then
I'll do a demo.
They add some extra sugar, into these bottles. And the yeast and the sugars co-ferment, and they turn into carbon dioxide, kind of almost in the way that like kombucha has all that stuff floating around in it. That's the way that
that's a good analogy. I feel like I have heard so many wine teachers, winemakers explain to me how champagne is made, and I like need to memorize it because I'm taking the W set right now. So I'm like, but like it's just I don't know. You just like made it sound really easy. I need to just like quote you word for word.
Oh, well, there you go. It's just like kombucha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just like kombucha. So speaking of
so
champagne,
riddling is the step where they take the wines and they turn them.
yeah, and then so
Sorry,
it's
what were you
upside down. So the sediment, no, it's this way. So the
Yep.
sediment goes to the bottom, and then that could, I mean, if you have like a higher end one, you know, it could be riddled for what, 5-10 years, and then it was actually fun when I was at Roeder Estate. The winemaker like did a demo where it popped off and all the sediment, you know, comes off, and then you cork it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay, I got part of it right. So speaking of sparkling, what is your style? Is it like traditional?
So this particular wine is made in the Charmant method, which is a little bit different. So it's not fermented in this bottle. It's fermented instead in a tank. But it's done in a way where it's not carbonated. It's not like they shoot the sparkling in. It actually is fermented in the same way. And so you'll see that it has a similar mouthfeel to champagne. But what we wanted to make here was a style of wine that was really approachable, really juicy.
The nose is sweet. Gorgeous. It's so pretty.
Thank you. Yeah.
You missed it. While you were dealing with UPS, I was sharing all of my tasting notes with everybody. I'm sure they love that. They're sitting at home, maybe not drinking it, and I'm making them jealous. But you guys, you can buy the 12-pack. And you also have a 4-pack, which look really cool on your website, too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What is the 4-pack?
Those are going to become available really soon. They're not quite on the market yet, but now that we just did this new round today, we're going to have those available really soon.
So I assume eventually, like, people can, if they order it online, can they like pick it up at the Riddler one of these days, or?
Yeah, you'll be able to pick them up at the Riddler, and then also we have a list on our website of all of the stores where they're available. They're available nationwide, and you can also have them shipped directly to you through our website.
Perfect.
But pretty much every good wine shop that you go to, hopefully, will be carrying.
I mean, they better. If not, I'm gonna be like, excuse me. And that's actually a really good way, you guys. For those of you, I mean, I know a lot of you are in California, and I've got some New York and Chicago pals that usually tune in. If there's a wine store that you go to and you want them to carry this, ask for it, and then there's more likely they'll order it. And it's a great way to help people like Jen and these amazing brands, you know, enhance their distribution.
That's right.
Yeah. So, okay. So what is this sparkling? Are we talking 100% Pinot Noir? What grapes are in this beautiful
So this is mostly Pinot Noir, and then there's a little bit of Chardonnay and a little bit of Mourvedre, which Mourvedre is not a grape that is traditional to Champagne. Most of the champagnes that you will get are either Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, or Pinot Meunier dominant.
Yeah, I know. So,
but Mourvedre is something that we found some really, really beautiful Mourvedre that we loved, and that's got a little bit of an earthy tone to it, and I think it balances this out really beautifully.
Yeah, I mean it's
we
lovely.
Wanted something that was going to be like pretty floral, a little earthy, and I like to think of these wines as the kind of thing that you're going to want to drink like outside at a picnic, at a barbecue,
watching a movie, like Netflix night,
exactly. They're great for an outdoor shower if you're those people.
Because we all have, I mean, I don't have an outdoor. It sounds like you have an outdoor shower. And you practice this.
I don't have an outdoor shower, but I have had many Une Femmes in an outdoor shower, and it's really refreshing. Yeah.
So actually, I'm gonna get some of these little guys, and I love, obviously when I travel, I like to come prepared because God forbid I go somewhere and they don't have wines that I love. So next time I have the opportunity to have an outdoor shower, I will send you a photo of the wine in the outdoor shower. Yeah, no, it's so great. It's so light. I mean, and also, how did you decide this is so fun? Like this cap, how did you decide to do this cap versus like a cork?
We knew that we wanted to do sort of a fresh version of the traditional champagne split. So one of these is a quarter of a bottle. And I wanted to do a crown cap because they're fun and easy to open.
Yep.
And yeah, we love them. We worked with a really cool design team in the UK called Thirstcraft. We really love their work. And, and all of the names of the wines are named after a woman, and then also they're specifically women's names. So this one, the Callie, is all about California sparkling, and then the Juliette is named after Julie Medvey, who is our champagne producer.
That's awesome. Is there going to be a Jen?
Yeah.
The Jennifer?
Oh, that's a good question. There could be a Jen. We've talked about doing the Joan, which I'm sure you know all
Joan.
about.
Is that your mom?
No, the Joan. Oh, do you not know about the Joan at the Riddler?
I don't know. Tell me.
Oh my gosh, no way. So if you come to the Riddler, will pour a glass of wine for you all the way up to the top, and that's called the Joan.
Oh, how did I not know about this? Have I been missing out on the Joan?
I don't know how you don't know about this.
I thought the Joan was that beautiful poster you have that I love to sit in the table, the foretop in front of.
But so if you drink a Joan at the Riddler, it's almost more than a half bottle of wine, which is
perfect. That sounds like a good start.
It's named after a woman who grew up growing up, everybody had that sort of floozy mom at soccer practice who would drink her wine all the way up to the top.
You're saying if I get the Joan, I'm a floozy mom. Well, I'm not a mom, so.
Well,
Yeah, well, actually, I am to a dog, but yeah, that counts. Well, yeah, I love this. I can see this just going down very easily. Yeah, perfect. And gosh, another thing I wanted to ask, like, where did you get the inspiration for this fun, like, sort of like strip over the label, which you also have on the champagne?
We also do have that. So that's the name of the brand, is Une Femme, and it's really all about the idea of we are all essentially one woman. We are all part of this womanhood. Mm-hmm. As I said, all of the wines are made by women, and also, I don't know if I mentioned this, but a percentage of proceeds of sales goes to Dress for Success, which is an amazing organization that's all about supporting women on their quest for financial independence.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to make the brand really all about women. I expect that we're going to be launching additional wines with other female winemakers who we really admire.
Ooh, what's cooking? What varietals are you thinking?
Well, I definitely want to do a pet nat.
Okay.
And we'll probably do a traditional Blanc de Blanc, a Blanc de Noir. I'd love to do something that's extra brut. We're going to experiment with a lot of different styles of sparkling wine. I think it would be really fun also to do a Lambrusco. I personally love Lambrusco, especially if it's like pizza night.
Yeah. I don't think I drink a lot of that. What grape is in that?
Lambrusco is, it's a red sparkling wine. It's Italian.
Like a Beaujolais, but the Italian version?
Very, very, very dark red in color.
Okay.
It's kind of like medium to full bodied, but you serve it chilled. It's fully sparkling. And do you ever go to Flower and Water Pizzeria? Their new spot.
That's my go-to. Although I'm so annoyed they still don't have seating outside. But yeah, I would go there like every 2 weeks pre-COVID. I love Tom and John, the chef. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, next time you go, they have a really great Lambrusco on their bottle.
Oh,
so
good to know.
It's a great pairing with like one of their earthier pizzas, like something with sausage or something with mushrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that was like sort of my like Friday spot. Like I'd be like, oh, let's have a lunch meeting at Flower and Water Pizza. And it's like so lively in Valencia. I love it. Right by Suvla, which I'm counting down. Do we have any news about when the Suvla mission's reopening?
I would say take a look this weekend.
Oh, well, I'm going to be in Napa, so I'll come home to.
Yeah, there's a possibility.
Okay. You guys, breaking news from Suvla's founder's wife. I feel like you're like sort of a co-founder. Did you guys do that together?
No, I'm not a co-founder. I am just there. I'm just a cheerleader.
You're just like whispering ideas and what do they say? Like the secrets, the pillow secrets. I feel like it's.
You know what they say in My Big Fat Greek Wedding? That the man is the head of the household, but the woman is the neck. So,
I like it. Okay. Oh, yeah, because Charles is Greek, so you probably know all the big Greek fact wedding sayings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so speaking of sparkling, should we pop the Juliette? It feels about time.
Yeah, let's do it.
And I am curious, you were saying, like, what is the blend of the Juliette? Which grapes are in here?
So the Juliette is a classic champagne blend.
Okay.
So this is a non-vintage. So anytime you see NV on the label, that means non-vintage, which actually traditionally means multi-vintage.
Ooh, and it's a Premier Cru.
There you go.
I was looking at some of where it's from, and I've been there, like Lesnol's or what's it called again? Where Salon is. What?
Le Ménil-sur-Ge.
Yes, I know. I can't say it. I can read it. I'm like, oh, I've been there. That's near Salon. Yeah. Cool. So so this is traditional, which means Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and Chardonnay for people that might not know that. And Premier Cru. You're not messing around with these grapes.
It's all Grand Cru and Premier Cru fruit. So in Champagne, so this is what it looks like. So it's called the Juliette. So it's named after Julie Medvy. So she and her husband own Gonnet Medvy, which is the house that we work with for this particular wine. His family has been producing champagne for almost 400 years, and her family is a very big family in Bordeaux. And they're particularly known for their Sauterne under a house called Chateau Gillette. And
Tell me when. I'm going to do it. Let's try to do it simultaneously.
Okay. We can try.
Oh, I already have my cage up. I'll wait for you.
Oh, that's fine. That's cool.
I couldn't wait. I couldn't resist. I was just like screwing away.
That's
You
cool.
know who's going to be very excited when they arrive tonight for their birthday weekend celebration, and I have a little bit of champagne left for them.
Just be careful with that cork, girl.
Oh, are we doing it?
Yeah.
Mazel tov.
There we go. Mazel tov.
Okay.
Do you know what I was going to tell you is you have to be careful when you open those. You should really keep your hand on top, because do you know that more people die every year from champagne corks than from shark bites?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Good fun fact. That's a really good one.
You should be careful.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought I held on to it. I don't know. I was so excited.
No, you were waving it around.
I was like, woo!
Excited.
I know. I mean, and you also don't want the cork to like go and break. I mean, this is not my house. I don't want to break anything. So, well, good. I didn't die, and good. We didn't have any accidents.
No, you didn't. Okay, so here we go. So this is, you'll see it's really beautifully golden in color. I'm pouring mine into a sort of larger wine
that's
glass.
a big
we
one.
Definitely talk about glassware.
Yes, I brought some glasses up.
But I like to drink this champagne either in a regular wine glass or a slightly bigger wine glass. But the one that you're drinking out of, I would love to drink out of too. But one of the reasons why you want to drink champagne out of a wine glass instead of out of a flute is from what Maggie, who is the CEO of
the Krug. Yep, we both heard it. Let's tell everybody.
Yes, so she said drinking champagne out of a flute is like going to the symphony with earplugs in.
Mm-hmm.
And all you can hear are the loudest notes. So you want to really treat champagne as if it were any other kind of wine.
Oh, that smells so great.
Mm. Did I lose you?
I don't know. It just was frozen for a second. I was
second.
just smelling and having a great time without you over here.
Smelling.
Yeah.
So this is, as I said, a classic blend of the three varietals.
Yeah.
They use mostly stainless steel. They do use a little bit of oak, a little bit of neutral French oak.
Okay.
And they do not use any malolactic fermentation, which is probably what you know that sometimes gives sort of a creaminess to the mouthfeel.
I'm not gonna lie, I love mallow, especially in my Chardonnay. I mean, I'm not quite like a Rombauer big buttery girl, but like I just want that like rich complexity, the yeast, the like bread notes. Yeah, that's my jam.
Gosh, I haven't had this in a minute, as the kids say.
Oh yeah, you're like, I haven't had it since last night. So good. So how did you decide? Like when one starts a champagne brand, you found a fabulous, very well-experienced winemaker. So
it really started because I fell in love with the wines of the Une family, and I really wanted to do something in partnership with them. They're a small grower producer, which a grower producer basically means that the people who grow the grapes are the same people who vinify the wines. So for example, if you're talking about a big house like Veuve Clicquot or Dom Perignon or Moet Hennessy, Moet Chandon, etc., those are all large traditional houses, and they buy most of their grapes
from the growers,
small growers.
Yeah.
And so now there's this movement towards grower producers. So the kinds of people who were the small farmers who used to sell the big houses now sometimes make their own wines. And a lot of times they really focus on small production. Sometimes growers focus on very site-specific wines. So they might say, these are all Chardonnay from this particular plot of Chardonnay, and it's all eastern-facing or northern-facing. And they will often do single vintage wines as well, which some of the big houses do too. But these are wines that are really sort of small and artisanal. The best way of thinking about them is like a small farmer that specializes in a particular type of apple. Yeah. Or a bunch of different apples. And as opposed to like, you know, Driscoll's strawberries, which are good, but like maybe you want to shell out for like a slightly more artisanal strawberry. Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because, I mean, when I've been to Champagne twice now in the past 2 years, well, last fall and the year before, I'm sure you've been like 20 times. So how many times have you been to Champagne?
Just twice.
What? Oh my God. I think 20. You've totally been 20 times. You're lying.
20.
Okay. So so I went twice, and like I had an amazing experience. The first champagne house I ever went to was Dom Perignon, which, I mean, holy moly, like pinch me. And my next trip, I really want to focus on the smaller guys, because I think there's, you know, the quality. I mean, a lot of us, might not know which ones to buy. So it's like we just gravitate towards what we know, you know, because like the marketing's great and we're like, oh, that's a nice bottle. I've had it. I've always enjoyed it. But it's almost like just like buying, you know, a bottle of wine from like a big house or like a small one that you're like, this is husband and wife. And like, you know, you visit them and their kids are running around the tasting room and you're like, this has so much character and charm. And I feel like my goal will be to like curate content. Actually, hopefully I can go meet with your winemaker on my next trip whenever COVID ends and we're allowed to leave the US. Nobody wants us to visit, but when we can again.
Well, do you know what's fascinating is that this year has been the worst year probably in history for champagne from an economic standpoint. And I don't know if you read this, but even some champagne producers are turning their champagne into hand sanitizer.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I was reading an article, maybe like wine industry, you know, that afternoon email we all get at like 3. And they were saying, I mean, who knows? I don't know if people will just like, their sellers will just, you know, the 2020 vintage, they're going to have like 3 times as much. I mean, It's obviously, because when I was like in Champagne, I went to Runart and I heard all about like people lived underground for 2 years during the war. So a lot of these champagne houses, their cellars were ruined by the, you know, the Nazis like took their champagne. So 2020, maybe we'll just like have abundance of champagne. So in 20 years, there'll be a lot of the 2020 vintage. I don't know. I mean, or
I
it's
think
going
that
to
will
be
be
hand
true to a certain
sanitizer.
extent, but also for some houses, it's more expensive to store the wine than it is to
Dump it.
keep
Well,
it.
yeah, and with all that riddling, I mean, yeah, I think at Veuve Clicquot, when I did their tour, I learned that one man can riddle, was it 40,000 bottles? That seems like a lot in one day. I think
In one day, that seems like a lot.
I should look at my notes, but
you
I know,
can
I
go
was like, what? Yeah.
So,
I mean, God bless whoever has that job and they're skilled. And it's like you have to train. It's like a craftsmanship job.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely is. Yeah. And it's only the best houses still do hand riddling.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them. Did you see any of the Giro palettes? The ones that are
Yes. The metal ones where they rotate them.
Shakers, basically.
And it was really cool. I went to Franciacorta like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago on a media trip. That was so cool. And I went to this, probably my favorite Franciacorta wine. Of course, I'm forgetting the name right now, but it's on my blog. He plays classical music in his riddling room. So for like 2 years while the Franciacorta wine is aging, they're listening to classical music. I have a YouTube video on it because I was like, this is so cool. So yeah, that is interesting. But like, God bless the ones that are still doing the hand. It's just, it's such a cool story.
Yeah.
So you said this is non-vintage. So how many years is this aged before?
So this is about a 5-year-old wine.
Wow. And it's
So
non-vintage and you're aging it out?
This was disgorged in 2018.
Okay.
And so it sat on the lees for 3.5 years before then.
Wow.
So you'll get a lot of that richness, that toastiness. Like
now
what
the minimum is 3 years for champagne, right? A non-vintage, is it a 3-year min of aging?
Yep, 3 years.
Okay. Ooh, hey. I know something for the WSET test.
There you go.
Of course it's champagne or Pinot, but Pinot, I mean, it's technically the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're smelling this, what do you smell? Like, to me, isn't it so obvious that this is champagne as opposed to just, you know, sparkling wine?
For sure. I mean, I smell some of those like yeasty bready notes we were talking about.
Me too.
A little bit of like light citrus, lemon, not much, but like a touch of it.
Do you get anything floral?
Maybe, hold on. Where's my WSET card? I'm going to do, not elderflower. What's that white flower with like the bells?
I get kind of just like white flowers.
Honeysuckle.
Like a jasmine or a honeysuckle.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
A little bit of minerality. So let's talk about the terroir of where these grapes are coming from.
Yeah. So most of it is what's called Kimmeridgian soil, which is basically the kind of soil that's left over from an era in which there were a lot of oyster shells and rock and white chalky mineral in the soil, and so it gives that really, really chalky, minerally vibe.
You can definitely smell the chalk.
When you drink Chablis, you will get a lot of that similar kind of minerality, and it makes for really, really beautiful wines. One of the other things that's really interesting about Champagne is that it is a huge region, as you know. To drive from one side to the other takes about 2.5 hours. It's huge. Forget about it if you're at one tasting over here and then you need to go to another tasting point.
I made that mistake. Like I was like going from like I feel like I can't say Haas right, like, you know, down to like Salon and then back to like it. Thank God we had a driver. I mean, anybody that goes to Champagne, if you actually want to drink, do not drive yourself.
Oh,
like,
no way.
Unless you're not drinking, do not drive. And also, like, who can read French? I speak French, but can you read, like, international driving is challenging.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
get a driver for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
One
of the things that's also really interesting about the Champagne region, and something that is increasingly a challenge, is that it's the coldest and northernmost wine growing region in the world. The closest, it's almost similar to like Seattle. So the temperatures are pretty traditionally very wet, very gray, very cold.
Is it a maritime climate? Is it maritime climate? Is that what you call that?
It is technically maritime climate, but it's a lot colder than nearly any other wine growing region in the world. The exception to that is in England, in some parts of northern England,
where they're making this sparkling wine,
Chardonnay and Pinot Noir specifically for sparkling wines.
Yeah,
and there is also cold. They're a little bit more northern, but because of climate change, they're able to match similar climate.
Interesting. So you know who's making an interesting sparkling wine from England? I'm pretty sure Stephen Spurrier.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Judgment of Paris.
There's a lot of really cool sparkling wine that's happening in England. Many of them are really, really, really racy. Most of them are very Chardonnay driven.
Which is funny. You don't think of the English as being racy.
You do not.
Like,
but because it's so cold there, they don't develop a lot of sugar. Okay. So, you know, the warmer the climate, the juicier the fruit, basically.
What do you mean by racy? Like lean and high acidity?
I mean lean. I mean like zippy and high acid, like the kind of wines that are like, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
so like very low dosage, so very low sugar.
Low dosage,
because of the cold climate.
Low sugar naturally coming from these wines, simply because they're growing in gray, cold climates.
Yeah, I know. I studied abroad in London. I absolutely love London, but it is gloomy. I mean, apparently there's
Where did you study abroad in London? I did too.
I feel like we like must have known each other. Well, I don't know what year, if we were the same year. I was on Marylebone High Street at the American Intercontinental University. What about you?
I was at the London School of Economics.
Oh,
I was there in
I did not go to school there. I wish.
2003.
I was there for the millennium. I was there in 2000.
Oh, wow.
It looks like I'm a couple years older than you.
I think that we're like pretty close to the same age.
Yeah, well, ladies don't divulge their age,
That's
especially
right.
not on IGTV. But
we were in high school. So.
Yeah, I was in 8th grade when I studied abroad. No, I love London. I mean, my family's Norwegian, and we used to go to London. We'd fly to Norway every couple of years, and we had friends in London, so we'd like use it as a layover. Because when you're traveling with like 3 girls, I mean, can you imagine flying from Chicago to London to Norway in the same day? It's just too much.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I've been to London 15 or 20 times. It's just amazing.
It's so great. I was just there for this turning of the new year. One of our main investors, she had her 40th birthday party, and her 50th. And for her 50th, she rented out the Tower of London on New Year's Eve, and had
Sounds like a great friend to have.
Amazing party. She rented a double-decker bus. Everybody got onto the bus. Everybody had little bottles of champagne, and it was such a blast. And we
was your champagne there? We
didn't have it yet. We actually did our world premiere of our champagne.
Yeah.
At her party. Caviar was flowing. It was super glam.
Awesome.
But we hadn't released these yet, so we drank some wine on the bus. But
so speaking of New Year's, so when I think of New Year's and I think of you, I always think of the Riddler New Year's, because, you know, my dear friend Kat, like, I feel like she always rings in New Year's there. So that's funny. I assumed you were at the Riddler this year, but you were in London at this other fabulous party.
I was in London.
You're frozen.
Oh no.
You're back. Now? Yeah, you're back. So I was in Mexico City this year for New Year's, and we went to this, we had a great itinerary of, you know, fabulous dining. And actually one of my dear friends put together the restaurants, and I was like, she's as much of a foodie as I am. So it's sort of nice when I go on vacation and someone else plans it. And we were thinking we'd be at this cool, sophisticated dinner, and by 10:30, 11, everyone had gone home. We're like, what is going on? Aren't we staying for New Year's? So we rushed back to the hotel. Thank God we were at the Four Seasons, and they had a great party. So we ran in the lobby 10 of New Year's, and we're like, we got 10 minutes to midnight. We're like, we have got to get champagne to toast.
Yeah.
So the Four Seasons saved the day.
Which champagne?
Pardon?
Do you remember which champagne you drank?
It was nothing special. It was whatever they were pouring out to guests complimentary, because we were we have like 5 minutes at this point. We need a glass in our hand. So it was nothing
that's so
fabulous.
Fun, though.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, that was my first time to Mexico City. Have you been?
I've never been. It's on my list. It was our next place we were going to go to. I'm so bummed I haven't been. Everybody loves it.
I need to go back because we basically we did like half a day. Like we went to these ruins, which are cool, but like we only had like 2 full days, and one was a Sunday and like nothing was open. So people are like, how was Mexico City? I'm like, well, we ate great. And they're like, what'd you see? I'm like, oh, not much. Like the Four Seasons and like so like I went to Gabriella's restaurant, Contramar, which is my favorite meal. Yeah. So I need to go back. I feel like I just scratched the surface, and it's very spread out. So like,
oh yeah, it's huge, right?
Yeah. Like you spend a lot of time. We didn't take the tube or whatever. I think they're like, as a tourist, just Uber. It's like safer, but it's cool. So yeah. Well, good. I feel like I didn't pour enough because I already drank my pour.
Yeah, well, I feel like I've been like taking them back.
So I have a couple questions for you. A lot of the questions I came up with, you already answered, like about, your winemakers and stuff like that. But I would love to talk about, I think, being a restaurant owner. I mean, do you identify as a restaurant or a bar?
I would say that we're a restaurant, especially our space in New York, where we have a full kitchen. We do a full menu. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind, I would love to sort of ask you, what is it like being a restaurant owner during COVID? How are your team members doing? I know you guys did a fund early on. Like what do people that don't own a restaurant need to know to be able to understand better, like what's going on in the climate and like why you're not open again or, all of that?
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I mean, it's been really, really tough. It's been a huge set of challenges, as a business owner and specifically as a restaurant owner, and every day the landscape changes a little bit. Some days there are huge regulation changes that happen. The city and the state is constantly sort of giving new direction, giving new information. Also people, whether it's our team members or our guests or our vendors, are going through so many different things and really going through an evolution of how they feel about dining in restaurants or serving in restaurants, working in restaurants, etc. I think for us, the thing that's been the most challenging has really been around balancing the health and safety of our team with the needs and demands of the business. So we have decided, we've tried a bunch of different things. We did a lot of delivery. We did a lot of pickup. We did, you could come and buy a bottle of champagne and drink it out on the patio. You could get oysters.
Where was I for that? I didn't know about that. I would have done that.
We did it for about 5 weeks.
Hello, I must have been under a rock. I don't know how I missed that.
We only did it on the weekends, and it was pretty low key.
Okay.
I mean, certainly it wasn't anything like now that people have all these big parklets and things like that. So it was definitely much, much, much more low key than that. But for us, it's really a question of balancing the health and safety of our team with everything else that we have to do. So, and there are just like basic financials of the business. You bring people back, you have to pay back all of your vendors. You have to also make sure that you've got enough people on the team, but you have to make sure you can pay them. So there's like a balance in the financials.
I mean, cash flow, you own many businesses. I own like 1 or 2. Cash flow is just, because like you said, you have to pay the vendors back. So if you're closed, are restaurants like being able to like not your invoices aren't due? Like how does that work?
Yeah, so for us, we've been doing a lot of pickups and direct sales to VIPs of our champagnes, and so that's been something that's allowed us to pay down our vendors. But if we were to reopen again, it would cost something like $10,000 to $20,000 for us just to reopen. And then once you have that, you have to be running at a profit, or else you're going deeper into the red.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that we were trying, we were going deeper into the red. So for right now, we're staying closed for the purpose of table service, but we're just waiting to see what happens next. And obviously,
well, and you're selling wines from your cellar, aren't you? Or did you sell?
We are. We're selling a lot of wines from our cellar.
And I've been to your cellar. I love that basement. I don't know when I went.
Oh my gosh,
when you and the team
been down there.
Yeah, I love it. Like when you and the team, when the Magnum team was working down there.
Yeah, we used to work down there.
Yeah, you've got a great cellar. So anyone that's looking for some fabulous wines, now's the time.
Yeah, we have a big, beautiful collection of champagnes. We've also been selling, we did a little bit of spring cleaning, so we've been selling some of our champagne buckets.
I saw that. And by the time I opened that email, I was like, okay, I love Jen's taste. So obviously whatever she has, I'll buy. And they were all sold out. I was like, damn.
Yeah,
they
sold out
half an hour or something.
Yeah.
So I remember you told me about this because I asked you when you opened, you got all of that cool stuff at like flea markets, right? Like Alameda and
flea
stuff?
markets and yeah, like estate sales, a lot of things I bought in France.
So, but then you have to go buy more, right? Eventually.
Well, we picked out ones that we have a lot of them. I'm pretty good at shopping for them.
I know. I was like, I think this is a great idea, but does now Jen have to go to more flea markets, which I don't think are open for a while?
Yeah, no, we definitely have like a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a good opportunity to sell off some.
You're like, yeah, house claiming. I mean, I totally was inspired. I love all of the silver trays. I mean, you know, I know we did a fabulous event there with a dear friend of mine. Actually, I don't know if you know my Frenchie Ernie, but I co-parent Ernestine. Yeah. And her mom is Margaret, who we did the Frances Austin event with you. And I love just like, you know, when you get the caviar and the potato chips on that silver tray, there's just, it's so glamorous. But then like, you guys do like Lay's potato chips, right?
Oh yeah, we do.
Yeah. I mean, it's like high and low. So I've totally bought similar trays at Alameda Flea, and now I have them at my house. So there's a little bit of Riddler, you know, at in my place.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So speaking of the Riddler, you guys were my last night out before COVID shut down.
No way.
Remember that Friday I saw you? You came by the table. And yeah, I was with, you know, the Be a Cart team and Kat, and that's when I first tried Juliette. Yeah, God, little did we know that was life before. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny now that you're saying that. I do have a distinct memory of.
We were sitting under at my favorite table under the big sign, the poster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was like a million years ago.
I know.
I mean, it was 5 months ago. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think like restaurants, I mean, I remember you were like, thanks for coming in. And we're like, of course, thanks for being open.
That was that 1 week where everything just took a big dive.
Yeah. And then Saturday, I was like, I guess I'm not going out anymore. And that's when shelter in place started for me, like the 13th or something of March.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. So you have two Riddlers. You have a PR company. You have a wine brand. What's next for Jen Pelka?
Oh my God. Nothing else.
That's
Nothing else.
Oh,
it's just
stop
figuring
it.
out. Really, for me, the next thing is figuring out what exactly we're going to do with the Riddler and how we're going to move forward and how do we make it really special for people and also feel safe and good for our team. I'm doing a huge focus on Une Femme and really excited to grow that brand. So we'll be doing a lot of collaborations with women-led wine bars. One of our big initiatives is really around partnering with and highlighting female wine buyers and women-owned wine shops.
Yep.
Because still all throughout the ecosystem of the wine space, women are still a minority. And so whatever we can do to partner with women who we really love in the wine space, that's something that's important to us.
Yeah. So it's funny. I mean, I have this thing, Founder Friday, and I was like just featuring all these female founders. And so it's like Founder Friday, and then it became Female Founder Friday. And I was just talking to my associate. I'm like, did we drop the ball on Founder Friday? What's going on? And she's like, well, does it have to only be females? And I'm like, I don't know. But like, I prefer to highlight females. And I think, you know, when you own your own business, you get to choose who you do business with. And obviously I love men just as much as you. Guys are great. But at the same time, when we think about like these big Fortune 500 companies and all the C-level guys, it's like, there's a lot of big boys at the table. So as a female business owner, when you get to make a choice, like, all right, am I going to give this business to a female owner or to a male owner? I mean, I feel sexist saying that, but it's just like, these are the decisions. And if the guys are going to support the guys, like we got to support our girls.
Right. Absolutely. And for me also, there's a big question around like working with and partnering with people of color. And one of the things that's really challenging in the wine space is that there are very few wines that are made by people of color. We have done a ton of research. We do not know of any champagnes that are made by a person of color, not a single one. So if anybody knows of one, we would love to know. Yeah. A lot of it is just like the history and the tradition of the Champagne region. But we are still looking. And there are some really cool domestic sparkling wines that are made by women of color. The McBride sisters are two twins.
I just wrote about them. They're in my top 10 Black-owned winery blog post.
Oh, cool.
I've never met them, but I've heard wonderful things about them.
Yeah, I've never met them either, but they have a very cool story. They were separated at birth. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't.
And then they like reunited in their late teens or something, and then they've made this wine together, which is really cool.
Yeah, I tried to visit the tasting room, but last time I looked, it was closed due to COVID. But they have a very loyal following. Mm-hmm. I feel like, you know, with Black Lives Matter, we all reevaluated our content, and I was like, I'm guilty of not having enough content, like Black-owned chefs, Black-owned winemakers. So I was like, do something about it, Emily. And I did some research and put together a list. But now I'm like, all right, I want to get out there and meet these gals, and taste and visit the winery.
Totally. Yeah, and I think, very much to your point, like as a business owner, you do have the power to make decisions about who you do business with, who you support, who you employ. And I don't really think that it's about like setting up quotas. It's just more than anything being aware of it and trying to seek out diverse voices and partners. And you can't always do it, but when you can, it's a nice bonus.
Well, because your staff is not 100% female. I mean, I know some of the guys that work for you and they're amazing. Yeah. Like Tristan was like my favorite. He was one of your openers, right? Yeah. I know Tristan from when he was a line cook at Nopa.
Oh, cool.
Because, I'm like a regular at the chef's counter, so I get to know all the chefs. Oh, I miss Nopa so badly. Speaking of great champagne pairing, Lawrence's fried chicken is killer with champagne. I did that for my birthday dinner.
I know it.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We're almost out of time. What else do we want to cover? Is there anything we want to talk about that I forgot to ask?
I don't know. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, guys, let us know. This is sort of a shy group. It's been a long week. I mean, right? Like TGIF
I don't know about
squared.
You, but I'm going through all kinds of emotional waves. And I thought I was doing okay yesterday, and then today was a tough one. But, it's just, I think we all have to be there for each other. We all have to be open to each other. If somebody yells at you in the coffee line, there's probably something going on.
Where are you getting coffee?
At Ritual. That didn't actually happen to me, but
I was like
someone yelling at somebody today.
Literally, I saw someone in the Mission, like, because, I live in the Mission, which a lot of people find surprising. I'm still surprised by it. But I found one of my neighbors. I was like, on my Peloton spinning, and I always look out the window, and he was like carrying a Starbucks cup, and I'm like, where is Starbucks open in San Francisco? I don't know, but apparently there is one.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, or Ritual, but so
there's definitely not one in the Marina.
No, maybe it's on Market Street. It's definitely because the Mission does a really good job. Like, there's not many chains in the Mission.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. I just was like, oh, Starbucks coffee. I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I asked somebody last night, I'd be curious, what are the 3 things you miss most?
I really miss like dining at the bar of a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like a very crowded.
Whooshed with strangers.
Like sexy, like you put on your leather jacket and your like good jeans and your heels and your lipstick.
You're in the West Village right now, girl, right? I feel like the way you're just, I'm like, this sounds like me in New York. Because I feel like I don't even wear heels in San Francisco anymore. Like, I'll wear like booties, but like, so you're at your favorite restaurant in the West Village. So which one is that? What would that be?
I miss the like CNB scene of that. I mean, like, but in San Francisco, I miss like crowding into a bar at like Kala or I miss Nopa. I was just thinking of like the specific bar seats that we always sit at.
4 is my spot. I've never seen you at 4. That's the one closest to Lawrence.
Oh yeah, we never sit over there. We always sit at the L.
Oh, the bar
close to the window, and there's like a little standing nook.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, I mean, when you know the seat number at your favorite restaurant, it's like problematic. But once I learned it, so now like I'll call and I'm like, I need seat 4 and 3. And there's another regular that also gets those seats. So like we have a fight. Like if he's there, I'm like, VJ, what are you doing? You're in my spot. And he's like, I booked it first. So it's actually really funny.
So yeah, that's funny. That's super funny.
So,
but yeah, I mean, those are the peculiarities of going to restaurants where you have a favorite seat and a favorite place and favorite team member. So I miss that a lot. I really miss my girlfriends. Like I miss seeing, today I called and texted like my 5 closest girlfriends who are all friends from different parts of my life. They all kind of know each other, but it's not like we're a group of 5 who hang. But I just miss like seeing them and like going to Soul Cycle and
you're a big Soul Cycler. What?
I really, really miss Soul. That's probably my 3rd.
Well, you should get a Peloton. It's great.
I know.
We could follow each other. We could do like Peloton and then like a virtual champagne drink after.
Yeah. You know what I tried the other day? So I have the Peloton app and I love it. But I don't have the bike, which I really want.
Well, you're welcome.
Have you done this?
Use my bike.
Have you done a class called The Class?
Yeah, we talked about this.
Oh, we talked about this.
I'm not really drinking the Kool-Aid. I've heard amazing things. I don't have the focus to listen to someone for 45 minutes and get on my hands and knees and do stuff, but I've heard wonderful things and I've done it once and I'm like, this is cool.
It was the workout that to me was most, it's nothing like Soul Cycle, but it was similar to Soul Cycle because the way that they talk about like your thoughts and your emotions and how you're doing and that you can do anything. Like there was a lot of that.
So if you like Soul Cycle, because we both come from New York, well, I mean, you spent a lot of time in New York. I can't remember if it's 11 or 12. I should probably figure out how many years I was there, but I spent a lot of time there. The intensity, like literally when I moved to California, I went to a Soul Cycle class and I'm like, oh my God, it's giving me anxiety. I feel like I'm in New York. But the thing I love about Peloton, like, I don't know if you follow any of the teachers, but like I do a lot of Robin classes. I do Allie Love. It's just like, it motivates you and they're like, and there's like great music and like you can see your metrics. And I mean, I think we're probably both competitive people. So if you're like a competitive athlete, like they'll like give you targets and I don't know. I mean, I'm absolutely serious. You're welcome to come try my bike because it is probably one of the best investments. Like the moment I moved to the Mission and there was no gym, I was like, this isn't going to work. I got to work out. And I've had it for like 3 or 4 years.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I need one.
Yeah, you do. I'll refer you. If you use a referral, we each get like $100 credit.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, I mean, I don't know if we had any questions. Guys, do you have any questions? You've got this fabulous kick-ass
everybody's like
female founder.
Enjoying their
I know. They're like, I don't want to work anymore. But by the way, if you guys want to learn more about Jen, I did an interview. We should probably do another interview about the wine brand because the first interview is all about the Riddler. Yeah, so I have an interview with Jen where she talks about the Riddler, the inspiration. And God, that was so long ago. You were in front of that the wall on the alley, which I love.
That's probably 4 years ago.
Yeah. All right. Well, any fun plans for the weekend? What are you up to?
Well, Charles is working at Suvla in the marina both days. It's rare that he works in the restaurants because he normally is the CEO. So he normally is thinking about growth and profitability and things like that. But, you know, in the days of COVID, it's all hands on deck. So he's going to be there. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm definitely going to go for probably like a long hike / walk / run, probably along the ocean. I think I need some ocean time.
Yeah. Oh, go to Muir Beach.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Wait. Okay. That sounds great. One thing I forgot to mention, I'm such a geek. We haven't even talked about your podcast.
Wait, which one?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know there was multiples. I listened to one. It was about you. You and Zach were on it. It was on. I follow all these wine podcasts. So tell us which ones have you been on? Because I guess I have to listen to a few more.
We've been on a couple. Honestly, I do a bunch of them. But one of my favorites is we did one with Dana Cowan.
I love her from Food and
Former
Wine.
editor-in-chief of Food and Wine.
I met her like 10 years ago at a Food and Wine event in the bathroom, and I was like, hi. Like, I was like a stalker. But anyway, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I haven't heard that one. All right, I'll listen to that.
So that one's really great. And then the team from Tillet, the workwear jumpsuit company.
Don't know them. That's not the one I listened to. There's another one.
And then another one with Carrie Diamond, the editor-in-chief of Cherry Bomb.
I didn't listen to that. Oh my God, you've done a lot. No, this was like a wine publication.
I don't know, honestly.
Well, guys, Google Jen's podcast because the one I listened to, I mean, God, I've got more to do now. I'm definitely going to listen to you and Dana. She's the coolest.
She's so great.
Yeah, because did you ever work at Food and Wine or you're just pals with them?
No, I just through PR stuff, I just know her.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Okay, well, we're getting the warning that we're going to get cut off. And what I've learned about IG Lives is usually it cuts you off before it says it's going to cut you off. So we better cut off on our terms.
There you go. Well,
thank you so much. Cheers.
And if anybody wants to buy the wines, they're at unefemmewines.com.
Perfect. Yes. And, God, this is so cute. Well, I'm very excited to be sharing this tonight with one of your biggest fans, the birthday girl, Kat. So thank you for helping me jumpstart her birthday celebration.
Hug and smooch for me.
Okay. Enjoy your weekend. I'm going to look out for the Valencia news announcement for Suvla.
You'll see.
I'll be back Sunday afternoon.
I think maybe there will be some quiet surprises this weekend.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll be having Suvla for lunch Monday or Tuesday.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, cheers. Thanks again. And
cheers. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. Have a great weekend. And guys, if you missed the beginning path, this will be live on my Instagram TV moment. Well, probably tomorrow when my videographer posts it, and also on my YouTube channel.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Talk to you later.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.